What's up, everybody? In this video, I'm going to show you how to find your first 5 freelance clients. What's up? I'm Alex Lewis. I've been freelancing for about 6 years. All 5 of these tactics I'm going to show you, I've been using to find clients since the beginning. So when you first start freelancing, you're not going to be trying to attract tons of clients. You don't need to. You're just trying to find one person. And so in this first phase, you're going to be just trying to go one-to-one for every client that you find. So rather than trying to broadcast to the masses and trying to get like big media exposure, you're just trying to find one client. The way you're going to do that is literally one-to-one interactions. So you're going to be sending direct emails to just one person in your network. You're going to be attending industry events so that you can just meet people literally one at a time. The first tactic I want to tell you about is just talking to people in your network. So my very first freelance clients came from people that I just personally knew. They were people who ran agencies, people who worked in agencies, or just local entrepreneurs who had small businesses. You can just reach out to them, ask them what they have going on, what type of problems they're trying to solve. These days, almost every business owner has videos they want to make, content they want to publish, they want to be on social media, they want to be getting published places. So if you can just offer your services and say, hey, realize you're very busy. If you ever wanted to get featured in local publications, if you ever wanted social media content, if you ever wanted to create YouTube videos, I'm your person. So who do you want to target in your network? The most important people to target will be agencies. If you know someone who either works at an agency or they run an agency, then those are the best people to pitch. Those were the first clients I ever worked with. So why do agencies need so much help from freelancers? I'll show you. Let's say there are 3 people in the agency, right? They're bidding to try to get the biggest possible project that they can get. Let's say that they're going for Coca-Cola. They're like, we want to run a campaign for Coca-Cola. They don't have enough people to service Coca-Cola. As soon as Coca-Cola hires them, they will need immediately to hire about like 25 to 50 other people, and just to like handle the sheer volume of blog posts and content they need to write, designs they need to write. And so this group is thinking like a business, and they're like, what is the least amount of risk with the highest amount of quality at the fastest speed that we can get it? And the reason they're thinking about risk is Coca-Cola is a really big client. They are required to hire, let's call it 25 new people. If they hire 25 new people, suddenly they're a 28-person agency. And then let's say 3 months down the road, Coca-Cola fires them. Suddenly, this is a 28-person agency working for clients that cannot pay the bills on a 28-person payroll. And so they're stuck because they suddenly are in a jam. They have to find another client, otherwise they're cutting all of their staff, which is really hard to do. On the other hand, they can work with freelancers who there's no tie to them, they're project-based, you can let go of them at any time, you can pull them in and out of projects as you like. It's like very little legal hoops to jump through in order to just temporarily hire a freelancer. So they work with just dozens of freelancers rather than hiring one person. It kind of looks like a bug there. So they might hire like someone on camera, might hire the copywriter, might hire the designer, and they're just trying to limit their amount of risk, serve their client as quickly and as well as possible, and their need is constantly changing. And so if you know someone who works at an agency, everyone I know who works at agencies they feel like they're like 5 days behind everything because clients need things yesterday, but they are just telling you about it today, and you don't have the staff to support all of the creative output that is necessary. And so if you can be a freelancer and try to plug into these agencies, if you have some kind of connection or even just a cold pitch, agencies are one of the best places to find your early freelance work. Point number 2 is attend local events. When I first started, I decided very early on that I wanted to write for tech. So I'm a copywriter, decided to just show up to a random tech event here in Austin. So I went there, networked for like 2 or 3 days, and every business card I got, just started collecting them, putting them in my pocket. I didn't even have business cards yet, but I started just collecting everybody else's business cards. And the very first day after the event, I sent an email to everyone that I had met and just said, hey, great meeting you, and left some personal note like, thanks for telling me about your dog, or excited to hear about the latest thing in your business. And then at the end, I would say, if you ever need a copywriter, I'm here to help. And it turned out of all the emails I sent, which were probably like 10 to 15, one person reached back out to me. And that ended up becoming my very first cold client, just somebody I had never met before, met them at this conference, got their contact information, sent them an email, they got coffee with me, and the rest was history. We worked on multiple projects after that. So the key to finding local events is think about specific industries. Don't just go to random like hiring happy hours and stuff like that. Try to think very critically about what industry you want to write for. So there's tons of real estate events, there's tons of tech events, and you want to be going to ones where you think business owners are going to these, people who have the hiring power are attending these kind of events. And so paid events are really good because people are showing that they're willing to invest to go to these kind of events. And so when you start going to these events, you just start rubbing elbows with people who are all extremely busy. These are all entrepreneurs, they're people in middle management, they're people who have a full schedule. They don't have enough time to do all the things they aspire to do. And so freelancers are literally just there to take something off their plate. So if you show up at the same events that they're showing up to, and you're just talking to them and saying, oh yeah, I'm a copywriter, I'm a designer, I'm a developer, they might be like, oh, I've got a dozen projects, what's your availability? At least that's been my experience. This third tactic, I think, is the one that gets most overlooked. I don't think I've seen any other freelancers talking about this, and it's one that I've been using for years. So I use LinkedIn's search feature because I know most people use LinkedIn when they're trying to hire. And so just think of phrases that someone might type to their network to try to find someone who's a freelance copywriter, freelance developer, freelance video editor. Once you think of those phrases, you can use LinkedIn search, type in those phrases, search by latest instead of relevant, and then search for posts. And you'll find a whole list of people who are typing in things like looking for a freelance video editor, looking for a contract copywriter, need someone to edit my latest video. Just type in those kind of phrases into LinkedIn and you'll just see a whole list of people all over the world who are hiring for your exact services. And then you can either comment below and like leave your portfolio, you can direct message them. If they've given you an email like, oh, contact me or send it here, you can just email them directly and just start the conversation. This fourth point is probably the easiest and definitely the one that's most recommended across anywhere else you're going to go. But it bears repeating because it's a really high quality way to start a freelance business. And that's going to places like Upwork, Fiverr, and Thumbtack. So these are project aggregate sites. They basically are where businesses go to try to connect with freelancers. And so you want to be showing up at these places because literally businesses are posting the jobs that they want completed. So it might be video editing, it might be content writing, it might be ghost writing. There's a whole list of services, VA, everything. And people are constantly looking for these services. And while the competition is high because these sites are built for this, so hundreds of freelancers, thousands of freelancers might be applying to the exact same jobs. But if you have some unique selling point, if you happen to live in the same city, if you have more experience than other people, if you're willing to give a lower rate to get the project, you can do all sorts of things to just start getting contracts on these sites. And I want to preface this by saying that these are really good temporary solutions to finding clients, but I don't recommend trying to build a full-time career freelancing on these sites. See these as jumping off points and with the intent of the future, finding new ways to find clients. The reason I say that is because there's a lot of competition on these sites, and competition inevitably drives down the rates you can charge. So if you would normally charge $150 an hour for your services, coming on Upwork, everybody you're competing against might be charging $25 an hour. And while you might be higher quality than them, you still might have to reduce your rate a little bit just to compete. So you don't want to stick to these sites for the long term. You want to just see them as temporary, get some experience, then you can move on and use some of these other tactics we're talking about. The reason you don't want to be on these long term is because the benefit that you get relative to your experience drops further and further the more experience you have and the longer you're on these. So consider it like this. So when you have let's do your experience here and money on this side. So in the very early days, in order for people to hire you, they have to think about this from a risk perspective. For them, are they gonna put a lot of risk on someone who doesn't have a lot of experience in their industry, like doing film editing or writing? They don't want to spend a lot of money because the more money they spend, the more risk to them that they don't get the output that they're looking for. And so you've got to think about, in the very early days, when you have a very small amount of experience, you can't charge a lot of money. The more experience you get, the less risk you are to businesses. And they're willing to spend more money for quality because you've proven your quality by working with past clients. But when you go to Upwork, typically Upwork attracts businesses that are competing on price. They're trying to get this, they're trying to meet you right here. When you have some potential, you're not proven yet, they know that they can get good value at a lower cost. That's what people are shopping for on Upwork. But when you start to get up here, clients aren't expecting to find you on Upwork. They're expecting you to have your own business. They're expecting you to have a list of clients. They're not expecting you to be like desperate for work. So they want to, at that point, find you through referrals. They want to find you through, oh, I read your article in Forbes, or I saw your video, I see that you're working with this other really respected company. When you reach this level, people don't expect to find you on Upwork. They expect to find you through their network or by just stumbling upon the really high quality work that you've been performing for other people. My fifth and final point is to join local and industry Facebook groups. This was a really big one for me in my first couple years of freelancing. So I live in Austin, Texas. I joined a couple of Facebook groups that are literally just for local entrepreneurs, local gig workers, local freelancers. And there might be thousands, there might be hundreds of people in these groups, and some of them are hiring and some of them are looking to be hired. And when you join these groups, you have this unique advantage because these are typically groups of people like businesses, agencies, who they want to specifically work with the local contractors. And so you have this unique advantage just by finding these groups in your local city, joining them, and then just applying to any gig that comes up. Another thing you can do is be really proactive in these groups. And so you can either wait for projects to be posted and then go bid on them, or you can just start writing about things that you like about your industry, or things that you've done in your industry. So if you're a videographer, you might just write little posts about, here are my 5 recommendations if you're gonna be on camera. And you just really simple, just post it in that group, and people will start to notice, oh, this person is the camera guy. This person is a videographer. And then you just start to build that reputation within that small community. And then the next time somebody needs a video editor, you're the very first person they think of. The other type of group is industry groups. And so for me, I'm no longer on Facebook anymore, but when I was on Facebook, I joined a lot of SaaS groups or software tech groups because that's my copywriting industry. So I would find a lot of these groups, join them, and I would do exactly what I was just talking about. I would make little posts. I would say, here are 5 copywriting tactics if you want to increase your conversions on a website. Here's how to improve the above the fold message on your homepage. I just started making little posts like that. Anytime somebody needed a copywriter, I would bid on that project. And I was just being very active and engaged within these communities. And it turned into a lot of really high quality clients. The nice thing about these groups too is you start to really quickly develop a reputation. So you don't even have to be super active long term as long as you're active in the beginning. So my experience was I would bid on these projects, I would work with a couple of people, and then those people would suddenly be referrers for you. So if somebody else makes a post in that group saying, hey, I need a copywriter, one of my past clients, and this happened to me a lot, they would tag me in the post and say, I highly recommend working with Alexander Lewis. He did a great job with my landing page. Here's the example. And they would tag their own post. And then it's not me recommending myself anymore. It's literally a total stranger saying, hey, I've worked with this person. Here's their work. I highly recommend you work with them. And at that point, all the other posts of individual freelancers trying to bid on the project might as well go home because I'm the only one with a referral. Think about these communities. So you're on Facebook, and Facebook is massive. Billions of people are on Facebook. Billions of people will not hire you for your freelancing. And so you need to find out how to hone in on very individual audiences who care about what you're doing. And so fortunately, Facebook does this for you. They have tons of little groups where people are gathered around, it looks like a pizza. People are gathered around exactly what they're interested in. So that might be industries that they're in, things they want to learn about, local groups for like entrepreneurs, small businesses. And so rather than just trying to go to Facebook in general, where it's literally billions of people who are mostly irrelevant, you can focus on these places instead of where billions or millions of people are gathering. You're just going to where maybe like 20 people or like 100 people are gathering at a time so that you can really be targeted. Because those 100 people that are in that group, they're very interested in your skills. So for me, when I found a SaaS group that had like 400 members in it, almost every single one of those members was either a SaaS founder, someone who worked for SaaS companies, or someone who wanted to start a SaaS company. So every single person in that group was someone who could potentially hire me. So target those kind of groups as you're looking for clients when you're looking on social media. This is a brand new YouTube channel, but I've been writing about these things for a very long time. If you want to get a weekly email from me about freelancing, copywriting, marketing, and a lot of other topics kind of for solopreneurs and for freelancers, go to lewiscommercialwriting.com/subscribe. See you there.